Hi, my name is Mr. Karl. I'm the children's librarian at the Van Buren Library and the Ironbound, and I'm super excited to read a story to you today. This is called The Girl Who Never Made Mistakes by Pett and Gary Rubinstein. And this story is about a girl who never made mistakes. But I'm not sure if that's possible because I make mistakes all the time, and I think everyone makes mistakes at some point in their life. So let's get started. For Beatrice Bottomwell, Friday began like any other day. She matched her socks, and of course, she put her shoes on their proper feet. She remembered to feed her hamster, Humbert, his favorite food, broccoli. And when she made a sandwich for her brother Karl's lunch, she used exactly the same amount of peanut butter and jelly. And look, here's her hamster Humbert getting ready to eat his broccoli right there. When she stepped outside to greet her fans, she didn't forget to say, "Good morning!" and thank you. They asked if she made her bed, and of course she had. They asked if she forgot to do her math homework. Nope, of course she did her math homework. What about tonight's talent show? They asked. I'm ready, said Beatrice with a smile. After all, her juggling act had won 3 years in a row. Most people in town didn't even know Beatrice's name. They just called her the girl who never made mistakes, because for as long as anyone could remember, she never did. And here's Beatrice as a young girl, stacking some blocks. There she is riding a bike, and there she is juggling. No mistakes in sight. Unlike Beatrice, Karl made lots of mistakes. And I can really relate to Karl here. He ate his crayons and drew with green beans. He danced with his hands and played the piano with his feet. Karl loved to make mistakes. At school, Beatrice was on a cooking team with her 2 best friends, Millie and Sarah. To make their giant rhubarb muffins, they needed 4 eggs. Beatrice went to the refrigerator and carefully chose the biggest, eggiest eggs she could find. And we know that if you're not careful when you're carrying eggs, you could drop them on the floor and they could go splat. But on the way back, her legs slipped out from under her and the eggs went flying. Beatrice was about to make her first mistake, but she didn't. I wonder how she avoided making a mistake. Whew, that was close, thought Beatrice. It looked like she caught all of the eggs on different parts of her body. It's amazing. For the rest of the school day, Beatrice could not stop thinking about her almost mistake. On her way home from school, Beatrice watched Millie and Sarah ice skating in the park. "Come join us," said Millie. "It's a lot of fun," said Sarah. Beatrice watched them slip and slide on the frozen pond. Millie and Sarah laughed as they wobbled on the ice. "No thanks," said Beatrice. Seems like Beatrice doesn't want to slip and fall and make a mistake. At supper, Beatrice barely touched her food. "Everything all right, kiddo?" asked her father. "I'm just worried I'll mess up tonight," said Beatrice, "and everyone will be watching." "Worry? You don't make mistakes," he said with a smile. Beatrice tried to smile, too. After supper, Beatrice got ready for the talent show. First, she woke up Humbert from his nap. Next, she got the salt shaker from the kitchen table, and finally, she filled a balloon with water. I wonder what Beatrice is going to do with a hamster, a salt shaker, and a water balloon. Don't tell me she's going to try and juggle them. The school auditorium was packed. Beatrice felt her stomach jumping around inside her. Beatrice waited for her juggling music to begin. "That's her! That's the girl who never makes mistakes," said a woman in the audience. "Oh, we know she'll be perfect," said a man. When the music started, she tossed Humbert into the air. Next, she added the salt shaker. And finally, the water balloon. What do you all think? Do you think Beatrice is going to drop them and make a mistake? Beatrice didn't miss a beat. The crowd clapped with delight. But Beatrice noticed something odd about the salt shaker. The specks falling out of it were not white. They're not white. What could be inside the salt shaker? Ah! Choo! Humbert was so surprised by his sneeze that he grabbed the water balloon with his little claws, and the water balloon went kablooey! Humbert, pieces of the water balloon, and pepper rained down on top of Beatrice. For the first time in as long as anyone could remember, Beatrice made a mistake. And boy, was it a big one. And look at Beatrice's face. She does not look happy. The music stopped. Beatrice didn't know what to do. Cry? Run off the stage? The crowd sat stunned, and they couldn't believe that the girl who never made mistakes made her first mistake ever. Beatrice looked at Humbert. He looked back at her. His hamster fur was soaked and speckled with bits of balloon. But then, Beatrice let out a giggle. The giggle grew into a chuckle. And the chuckle became a laugh. The people in the crowd looked at each other and then back at Beatrice. And they began to giggle, and then chuckle, and then finally roar with laughter. Beatrice and the audience laughed until they couldn't remember why they were laughing. That night, Beatrice slept better than she ever had before. In the morning, no fans greeted Beatrice. When she got dressed, Beatrice, for no reason at all, put a polka dot sock on one foot and a plaid sock on the other. Beatrice and Karl made sandwiches. This time, they put the peanut butter and jelly on the outside, and they called it an inside-out peanut butter and jelly. Lunch was messy, and it was delicious. And look at all the jelly Beatrice got all over her face. Later, Beatrice found Millie and Sarah skating in the park. And they fell a lot, and they all laughed. Now, people no longer call her the girl who never makes mistakes. They just call her Beatrice. And that's the end. And I think Beatrice learned throughout the story, it's okay to make mistakes. Because we're all human beings, and we all make mistakes many, many times throughout our lives. Sometimes when we make a mistake, like if we get a hamster and a water balloon and pepper all over us while we are trying to juggle, that's actually pretty funny. And that's a mistake. You can just laugh that off. And we should all try and laugh off some of our mistakes as we learn that we're not perfect. And that making mistakes is part of how we learn and how we grow. And that's our story time for today. Once again, my name is Mr. Karl, and I'm the Children's Librarian at the Van Buren Library. Please follow the Newark Library on all of our social media accounts and check back in for another story time with me very, very soon. Have a wonderful day.